On a mission. I want to bring in Democratic Congressman Josh Gottheimer of New Jersey and Republican Congressman Tom Reed of New York. These two gentlemen are the chairpeople of the Problem Solvers Caucus. Congressman, we just heard House Minority Leader Pelosi. She says she is not going to support the Senate budget deal without any sort of commitment from Paul Ryan on immigration. Where do you two stand on the issue? To you, Josh Gottheimer, first, because remember, it was just 2 weeks ago that Mitch McConnell said we're going to address this.
Yes, that's why the Problem Solvers Caucus yesterday sent a letter to Speaker Ryan saying it's time we actually let every bill on immigration come to the floor and then we can vote on it up or down. And I think it's long past time. Now Senator McConnell is going to be doing that next week, Leader McConnell, and I think it's time we do that here.
All right, well, then, Tom, lay this out for us, because you boys wrote an op-ed in The Hill this week, and it detailed this bipartisan immigration plan. So what does it look like?
What it looks like is it's a compromised position. We take care of the dreamers, these children that are caught up in this immigration failure. It takes care of some of the border security measures in regards to securing the border. And then it takes care of some additional issues that need to be addressed to fix the problem going forward. And from my perspective, we worked hard, 4 months coming together, and we did the work to show that we can work together, Democrats and Republicans, to solve this problem. And that's why the letter also was very important, Stephanie, to send the message to our leadership. It's time for the House to do its will and to speak its will, just as they're going to do in the Senate. I join with the call. Let's have the debate. Let's bring it to the American people. Let's have a yes or no vote on these various proposals that are out there.
Exactly. All right. Well, I mean, I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. But White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she was asked not about your letter. She was asked specifically about Nancy Pelosi's 8-hour speech. And here's what she said.
We've laid out what we would like to see in immigration legislation, and I think it's something that Nancy Pelosi should support, and hopefully she will come on board.
All right, it's not a surprise that Sarah Huckabee Sanders is not going to like Nancy Pelosi's speech, but we're talking about a White House with a hard-line stance on immigration. How does that even make it possible that negotiating is an opportunity? Because, Tom Reed, I noticed there you said money for border security, and Democrats will agree we need more money for border security. What we don't need money for is a wall.
Well, I think when you have the conversation, honestly, across the table, people recognize structures are part of border security. And if you want to call it a wall, if you want to I'm not going to get caught up in the semantics.
But the White House is. The White House has said over and over, can't be a fence, it's got to be a wall. So in terms of negotiating, can you negotiate with a White House that does have a hardline stance?
What we choose to call as a structure, if the White House wants to call it a wall, I'll let that, if that's the breaking point of not getting a deal done, I don't think that's going to be the barrier to the ultimate conclusion of resolving this issue for the American people. If you come at this from good faith and legislate it the way we did as Problem Solvers Caucus over months of time, respecting each other and getting you to a conclusion that I think is reasonable and solves problems, not 100% perfect, but 80% is a victory, not a defeat.
Right. I'm with you. Good faith. Trust more. Love more. Can we get the White House on board? Congressman Gottheimer, before we go, do you support the Senate budget deal?
I think I'm inclined to. I'm still going through all the details, but I like what it does for our district and the people back home, right? It helps on Medicare Part D, so helps seniors. It's going to add support for infrastructure investment, which is critical, and also defense. And you can't keep punting on an issue that's so critical. You know, we heard the Secretary of Navy say that literally every CR, every time we don't actually get together and make a decision, it costs $2 billion in wasted money, things that aren't getting built to fight terror and to make sure we stand strong against those like North Korea and others. We actually have to work together, and this is about bipartisanship, right? We keep talking about it. You've got Senator Schumer and Senator McConnell coming together in a bipartisan deal. I think you don't get everything you want, but get most of what you want, and we move forward. We can't keep shutting the government down. So I'm leaning yes, but I'm still going through it.
All right. Well, embracing big spending is not something you traditionally hear from Republicans. It's quite an ideological switch. Congressman Reed,
if you remember the tax hike bill, Stephanie, they raised it to, I think how much was that? $2 billion. So I $2 trillion. I'm sorry. So
no, not $2 trillion.
I'm sorry. $2 trillion.
He's gone DC. Trillion or billion? What's the difference?
Yeah, right. $2 trillion. You can't remember that. $2 trillion just in December. So
all right, Congressman
how quickly
Reed,
we forget.
Can you? Yeah, I mean, it is scary that we're going billion, trillion, whichever. Yeah. Congressman Reed, can you get on board with this bill?
I have grave concerns about this, actually, to be perfectly honest with you, Stephanie, because I ran for Congress because of our national debt crisis. And I hear the words of Admiral Mullen that said the biggest threat to our national security is our national debt. And we're looking at the bill. We're going to make a good faith effort to try to get there. But I will tell you, I have grave concerns about this endless path of endless spending that's adding to our deficit, our debt. And to me, that is something we have to have a serious conversation about.
All right, then
no more continuing resolutions. No more punting. It's costing us a fortune.
Okay, well then, just between you and me, Tom, you were up for the big corporate tax cuts. They've caused huge issues when it relates to our deficit.
When you look at that side of the equation, when you look at the growth that comes from economic relief from tax reform and the investments that are being made on that front, that's different than just direct spending dollars that we control out of Washington, D.C., as opposed to unleashing America's money, which is what they have earned to invest in our economy that's going to lead to growth. I disagree with the assessment on the debt from tax reform. I fundamentally think we're going to not have a deficit problem with that. We're going to have a growth positive net impact overall.
From your lips to God's ears, Congressman Reed.
Talking border security, let's get it done. That's what I'm focused on.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Two gentlemen and hopefully some others working together. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks.
All right.